Namaskar Mabuhai, welcome back to Soul Yatra Unfolds. So we're unfolding something interesting this time as always. I happened to be I was fortunate to attend a global investor summit in Bhopal in a state called Madhya Pradesh in India. And during that visit, in one of the programs, we were very to be addressed by the Honorable Chief Minister, Mr. Mohan Yadav. In his address, he was encouraging us to visit some of the places for tourism, well-known cultural heritage in the state. And then he mentioned about Ujjain, where we have the famous Mahakaleshwar Temple. So I thought, why not pick up that subject, because he shared an interesting insight which inspired me to look into further details about it. So this temple, which is called the Mahakal Temple. So if you look back into India, Kal, the word means time, eternal time, which has no start, no beginning or no end. And this temple is known to be Mahakal, and it is related to Lord Shiva, because Shiva represents the eternal time. So he shared about an interesting practice there. He said every day in the morning at 4 a.m., the temple has an Aarti. So Aarti is a very common practice, which is a prayer done in every Indian temple. Here the Aarti is very, very exclusive and different, because this Aarti is done with ashes. It's called Bhasm Aarti. Bhasma means ash. And the whole Shivling is completely adorned with massive powder of ashes. These ashes are made from cow dung cakes. They are burnt and these ashes are made. Now what he shared with us interesting was that the word Kal or time, how does it correlate to that powerful Shiva temple? Basically what they do is, this Aarti is done at 4 a.m. in the morning, but right beginning from 2:30 a.m., the Shivling, or that is what we call the form of Shiva, what we worship, it is kind of decorated. So, we have the normal procedure of pouring water, milk, honey, and then cleaning it and, adorning it with flowers, with chandan, what we call, and different other, offerings of flowers. So all that is done. And right after that is complete, the whole Shivling is then completely cleaned and adorned with ashes. Now that's interesting, right? You spend about an hour and a half, creating this beautiful Shiva there, offering prayers, and then suddenly it's all gone, and there lies this Shiva statue with ashes all over it. So what it signifies is basically signifies how small we are in this entire magnitude of time. In this material life, we go through so many, what we consider challenges, we have so many happiness, we have so many challenges, there are daily fights for our survival. But at the end of the day, what it is, we all know where are we going. And that's the reminder there it is, that all what we go through, how much is it worth? Because there is nothing which is beyond time. And that's what that temple signifies. From this, I began to think about it. Why is it placed in that particular place? Why is that place considered so important? So now when I look back into some, history and started to read about it, these are some of the interesting findings which came out. So Ujjain, this city which was earlier known as Avantika, this resides on earth on this latitude called Tropic of Cancer. Now this whole belt of Ujjain, and then there are more cities which all reside on this Tropic of Cancer, which circles the globe, of course. Now why do we relate it with time? As you all know, Earth in the solar system is not suspended straight. It's elliptical. The obliquity is 23.5 degree, because of which our true equator is not equal to the celestial equator. It is this Tropic of Cancer which aligns with the celestial equator. So basically that is why on June 21st, when we have the longest day, and then we have the shortest day in December, on June 21st, this tropic of Cancer is completely at 90 degree, and the sunlight is direct on it, on that line, on that tropic of Cancer. The solar system is into the Milky Way, and the Milky Way, it is a galaxy of stars which itself has its own center, which is called equator, and which is very, very intense because most of the dark matter is there. So these alignment together makes these places very active with what you call dark matter, or a more profound or deeper energy. So if we had to move around in that area in specific times of the year, if we wanted to feel that energy, we could do that. But of course, to do that, we would have to do certain practices. We would have to be in meditative state of mind to feel that. But we have been given that option in that location where you could actually sit and be aligned with the eternal time of this cosmic universe, which is the ultimate truth of what we are. And that's what this temple there signifies. So now comes, is this all what is written, or how did we come to this conclusion of some of the things what I shared? So moving on to that path, when I started reading more about it, the mention of Ujjain comes in one of our oldest script. Now the script is called Surya Siddhanta. So Siddhanta basically means treatise. Surya Siddhanta is the one which is known for its astronomy and astrology. Technically, astronomy and astrology go hand in hand together because they both are study of our planets, of our motions of planets, time, about the cosmic energy, about our universe, and everything which has got to do with that. When we read Surya Siddhanta, for example, in chapter 2 and 12, it gives about this obliquity of Earth's axis of rotation by 23.975 degrees, this kind of precision. And this goes back to almost 3rd millennium BCE. Surya Siddhanta, it contains sign tables, the accuracy of decimal places, minutes, seconds, degrees. And why am I saying this? Because then it speaks about the precision of the calculations and why some of the things what mentioned there stands true. Because it is in Surya Siddhanta where Ujjain was used as what is used today, Greenwich Mean Time. What is Greenwich Mean Time? It is basically the Tropic of Cancer, and then there is a longitude which passes through, which we consider as 0 degree, and this place was decided certain years, some 100 years ago. But in olden India, it was Ujjain which was considered as the 0 degree, and it was the GMT of us, how we used our time. So time started from there, and time is supposed to end there. In chapter 1 of Surya Siddhanta, in shlok number 62, Ujjain has been mentioned as the navel of the earth, or the center of the earth. And we had continuous mathematicians and scientists who continued to take this knowledge forward. They taught in universities. One of the another famous mathematician was called Aryabhatta, who wrote Aryabhatya. He lived from 476 to 550 CE. He was the first person to explain Earth's rotation on its axis, which is causing the sun to rise and set each day. It is in fact Aryabhatta who interestingly mentions that he measured time, and in his measure of time, he says that the Kali Yuga began at midnight on February 17th/18 on 3102 BC at Ujjain. Now this was the science of this. Now coming back to the first portion where I mentioned that we have Lord Shiva's there. Now we have places in India which we call them the Jyotirling. Ling is the Shiva what we worship, and Jyotirling is basically enlightenment, what we get from there. And there are different Jyotirlings in India. Now each one has its own significance. So Ujjain's Jyotirling is significant about time, and it is called the Mahakal. Now another significance of Jyotirling is that any place which is consecrated is normally said that whoever consecrates, he or she actually sacrifices a part of their life energy into that. Now these Jyotirlings are supposed to be consecrated by Shiva himself, and that is why they are very powerful places, and they have the energy of Lord Shiva. Now, there are different Jyotirlings in India. The one in Ujjain, as I mentioned, there is a saying that whoever goes there could have a lot of enlightenment or could get healed. This can sound, a little unrealistic, but coming back to the things I mentioned about the scientific process of this, like I mentioned, that every place has its own energy based on the magnetic current around in that place, the influence of planetary bodies, what is there. Now, this place, as I said, it itself is in a place which is like the equator because of the I mentioned about the tilt of the earth. Then it corresponds with the galactic equator and it corresponds with the celestial equator. You can imagine all the energy, what transpires in that place. So there is something called Vedic Rashmi theory, which is the theory of movement of particles. I would say, looking at it in a very fine way, like when light rays come, they can be further broken down into finer particles. Now, these places are where you could align with these profound particles with your body energy if you really could sit and connect to them, because whatever is happening in that outside of our body is happening inside our body. Our bodies have got cells, our bodies have got atomic connections. They're all connected together to form a mass of cellular body. And for example, we have a proton which connects with the electron, we have the neutron which creates energies and waves in our body. Exactly the same phenomena is happening outside, and these galactic centers or any celestial equator becomes very profound because the movement of these are very intense. You've heard about dark matter, you've heard about places where how we can be influenced both emotionally, physically, in our and mentally in our body. I wouldn't even say that you would have to go and actually sit next to the Shivling. If you just went and sat there and did a meditative practice for some time, if you lived there for some time, you could feel a difference in your body. You could feel a difference in the alignment of our nadis, air channels which are running in our body. Now, it's a very deep science which will need a lot of many episodes to explain. Plus, it could become a little more too scientific for us to simply understand. But if in future, if anyone's interested, I'm more than happy to share, discuss, or team up with people who want to do more research about this. I hope this was informative and helped you get more knowledge about it. Thank you. Look forward to many more episodes to connect with you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.